Recently I posted a video which showcased how Lunalight can easily beat Droll and Lockbird. However, since then, you guys have pointed out that there seems to be some controversy surrounding the lines that are showcased. Namely that the line relies heavily on Dugaras whose rulings are a little judge specific. Some judges rule that you can't activate Dugaras unless you can summon something else from grave. In other words, you need to have a legal target before you can select that effect. Other judges say you can activate it regardless, based on how the card is worded. It's a bit confusing. In fact, automated online duel simulators like Yugioh Omega, Edo Pro, and I believe Master Duel 2 all allow you to activate the effect even if you have no other monsters in grave. While some judges still rule otherwise. This creates a bit of a conundrum where players need to check with their head judges on the day to be certain of how they should navigate their lines. Even then, the answer isn't set in stone. For example, I have an OTS tournament this weekend, and when I asked the head judge about the ruling, they initially said that I couldn't activate Dugaras unless I had a specific target there already. However, when I showed them the replay of me doing so in Edo, they immediately said that since I brought the receipts, I can activate Dugaras. I know I'm rambling a lot, but the point is that I'm trying to showcase is that it's very mixed. So this is how you can go about navigating your lines regardless of what your judges say. So the line I'm about to show you does play through Droll, but it is a little bit controversial in that it will depend on how your judge rules on the day. But basically to go about it, you will need just the Yugioh, and you'll obviously start off by normal summoning her, and then you'll use her effect to search for Silverhound. Make sure you go for Silverhound and not Yellow Marten. I know a lot of combos tell you to go for Yellow Marten, but if you do, you will be completely cooked by Droll. So you're gonna add the Silverhound. On Riz, you're going to pitch the Silverhound, and you will activate Silverhound's effect in the new chain. From this point, your opponent is given a window to activate Droll, which they obviously would. And this is where a lot of people would panic, but you're still fine. So you'll use the Silverhound's effect when it resolves to summon the Collider Chick from deck. You'll activate Collider Chick's effect to send Wolf to grave. And then you'll activate Yugioh's effect to add the wolf to hand. You'll activate the wolf in your skill, activating its effect to fusion summon out Perfume Dancer using Yugioh and the Silverhound from grave. Obviously you won't be able to search for Perfume, but that's okay. You'll then use Perfume Dancer's effect to add Collider Chick back to hand and then summon her back to your side of the field. You'll activate Collider Chick's effect, sending a Marten to the graveyard. Marten's effect to return Wolf to hand to summon herself back to field. See, this is where things become a little bit controversial because you will then overlay into Dugaras. Now, some judges will rule that you can't activate Dugaras' effect to summon something from grave, even though detaches as cost because you don't have a legal target. See, in the game, cost is kind of separated by a semicolon. If you look at the card on the left, you'll see the semicolon is after the card says detach and then activate one of these effects. So, but on the other hand, a lot of times in Yugioh, don't quote me on this, but sequencing is separated by a comma. So the way it would sequence is you detach and then select one of these effects. But because the detach happens before the selection, you can use the effect to summon from grave. I believe simultaneous effects in the game are separated by an and sequencing is by a comma, but don't quote me on that. It's it's a very fiddly ruling, which is why we don't have anything concrete in the TCG just yet. But on Edo, just like Omega and on Master Duel, it seems to work. So you can detach 2 to activate effect, and you can then special summon 1 from grave. So we'll special summon out Collider Chick. You'll use Collider Chick's effect to send Leo Dancer to grave. And then you want to go into an IP. Again, this is the whole reason why I play IP. It just reinforces your lines through Droll. Activate Wolf, and then Wolf's effect to fusion out Liga Dancer using Perfume, Kaleido, Leo, and Marten. So we ended on a Liga plus an IP that can go into an SB. The next couple of lines I'm going to show you don't really care about how your judge is going to rule, they just work. So in this case we have Masquerade, so we'll activate that. We'll use its effect as an ignition effect to send a Lunalight from deck to grave the turn it's activated, and we will send Silverhound. Silverhound's effect will activate, and in this case you want to go for Yugioh. Doesn't matter what position you summon in, I just think it's safer in defense position, and it also reminds us that she was summoned of Silverhound, so long as she's on the field, we are locked into Lunalight. You want to activate her effect to add Collider Chick to your hand, and then you want to discard the monster you have in hand. So for this combo, you do need Masquerade plus some monsters to discard. So we happen to have Droll in this case, and our opponent will then be given an opportunity to activate the Droll in their hand. Again, we're completely fine, so we're going to normal summon Collider Chick, activating her effect to send Wolf to the graveyard. Then Yugioh's effect is going to activate, and we will add Wolf back to hand. Activate Wolf, and then you want to use its effect to fusion summon, to fusion summon our Perfume Dancer using the Yugioh on your side of the field and the Silverhound from grave. We obviously don't get the search, but we can use Perfume Dancer to add the Collider Chick back to our hand, and then summon it to reset the effect. Activate Collider Chick's effect to send Yellow Martin to grave. Yellow Martin's effect to return Wolf to hand to summon herself. Overlay into Dugaris. And then in this case, we already have a legal target in the monster we discard, so we can activate without worry. Detaching the two to special summon a monster from grave. Because it doesn't target, we can just go for the Collider Chick. And then we can activate Collider Chick's effect again to send the Leo Dancer. Link into IP. Activate Wolf, which is not a hard once per turn. And then fusion summon out a Liger Dancer. We can activate the Collider Chick optionally, but of course we're going first so we don't have a battle phase. So Foolish Barrel also plays through Droll, and it works very similar to the Masquerade line I just showed you. So you'll activate Foolish, and like before, you want to send Silverhound to grave. Silverhound's effect will activate, and you want to use it to summon out Yugioh to your side of the field, who will then search on summon. And we want to go for Collider Chick and then discard and res. So we will discard the Droll Knockbird, and our opponent will obviously have the window to activate theirs. So like before, this combo does require you to have Foolish Burial plus a monster to discard. We'll then normal summon Collider Chick, and we'll activate her effect to send Wolf to the graveyard, and then use the effect of Yugioh to add the Wolf back to hand. Activate Wolf. Wolf's effect to fusion summon, and we want to go for Perfume Dancer using the Yugioh on our side of the field and the Silverhound. So something about these combos is a lot of times we have to use the Silverhound in grave to fusion summon, so we don't really have a spell trap negate during our bonus turn. But that's okay, like I said, if you're playing through Droll, you can't exactly be too fussy. So we'll then activate Perfume Dancer's effect, resetting the Collider Chick, and then using her effect in the new chain to send Yellow Martin to grave. Martin's effect to return Wolf to hand and summon herself back to the field. Overlay into Dugaris. Again, we already have a legal target in grave, so again, we're completely fine depending on no matter what our judges roll. And then special summon one from grave, you always want to go for Collider Chick. Collider Chick's effect for the third time to send Leo Dancer. And then special summon out IP using the two bodies on field. Or the two Lunalight bodies on your side of the field. Activate Wolf, and then Wolf's effect to fusion. Like a Dancer. Using the 4 Lunalights we have in grave. Now, something that I don't think I've mentioned specifically, but a lot of times you always want to link off your Lunalights to make Masquerade because you're going to fuse them off. And if you don't do that, you can't exactly make an SP during your opponent's turn using the Dugaris that we have left. So Fractal, like the others, beats Droll, but unlike the other two combos that I just showed you, Fractal does not need you to have a monster in hand to discard, it just needs you to have any other card in your hand to discard. You know, for the purpose of illustrating this, I put Dark Will in our hand, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So we'll activate its effect, and this will allow us to send a level 3 or lower Beast Warrior or Tri-type to the graveyard. So of course we're going to go for Silverhound. We're going to use Silverhound's effect to special summon out Yugioh. Yugioh's effect to search, and then discard. So we're going to go for Collider Chick, and then just to showcase that Fractal doesn't really need you to have another monster, it just needs a card that you can discard. So we'll discard the Dark Ruler, and our opponent will then get the opportunity to activate the Droll on their side. We'll normal summon Kaleido, use her effect, send Wolf Leo to add the wolf. Activate wolf. Wolf's effect. Fusion into Perfume Dancer using Gold Leo and Silverhound. Perfume Dancer to add Collider Chick to hand. Special summon Collider Chick. And then activate her effect to send Yellow Martin. Martin's effect. You want to return wolf to your hand, summon yourself, and like before, you're going to go into Dugaris. And then activate its effect, detach into to summon out Collider Chick from grave. See, because we already had a legal target in Fractal, we can do this without worry. Activate the effect. Send Leo Dancer to grave. Link over into IP. Activate wolf. And then fusion into Liger Dancer using the 4 Lunalights in grave. So while not as explosive as the other lines, Tenki also gets you something. So you'll activate Tenki, and this is where a lot of people will be tempted to add Golio because it is the deck's premium 1-card starter, but you should always go for Fractal in case your opponent has Droll, as you guys will see in a second. So we add Fractal to hand, and at this point our opponent does have Droll, so they're going to activate it. And if we added Golio, that would basically be the end of our turn. And if they didn't activate Droll Not, but we would have the Fractal to go full combo as I showed you previously. So we will activate the effect in this case, pitching itself to send Silverhound from next to the graveyard. Silverhound's effect is going to activate, and in this case we're not going for Golio because it basically has no effect under Droll to summon out Collider Chick. You want to activate Collider Chick's effect to send Yellow Martin to grave. Use Martin's effect to add Collider Chick back to hand, summoning herself. Normal summon the Collider Chick. Use its effect to send, I guess it doesn't really matter, it's just any fusion monster from your extra deck. In this case, I'm going to go for the Panther Dancer because it is the one that is least likely to come up. And then you want to special summon out Baguska. So even though our opponent had Droll, off a 1-card combo we ended on Baguska plus a Spell Trap Negate thanks to Silverhound. So this line is very specific, but you can beat Droll if you open Polymerization, Silverhound, and Collider Chick. So you'll start off by activating Polymerization, and you want to fuse Perfume Dancer using Collider Chick and Silverhound. So on summon there's going to be a few trigger effects. You want to go Chainlink 1 Perfume Dancer, Chainlink 2 Silverhound to summon from deck. You can do these interchangeably, but what's important is that Collider Chick needs to be Chainlink 3 to Chain Block. And you'll use its effect to add Polymerization to your hand. Not too important, but again, it's better to Chain Block than not to Chain Block. So we'll summon Golio, and New Chain, after we add Perfume to hand, New Chain Golio's effect is going to activate, or rather we get our window to activate it, but because we're a turn player we have to activate it as Chainlink 1, which means our opponent gets to Droll and we don't get the effect to search. That's completely fine. We'll activate Perfume to summon back out Collider Chick from grave, and you want to use Collider Chick's effect to send Wolf to the graveyard. We can then use Golio to add Wolf back to hand. And something that's important to note here is because we summoned the Golio of Silverhound, so long as we control the Golio, we cannot special summon anything besides Lunalight. You'll notice that we cannot go into anything from extra deck. It's completely locked out. It's okay. We'll activate Wolf, and then we need to use the effect of Perfume to reset Collider Chick's effect. So we'll add to hand and then special summon her back. And then use her effect to send Leo Dancer to grave. Like I said before, we can't really do anything fancy with our extra deck here, so we just have to activate Wolf's effect to fusion summon. I would use the monsters I have on field, so Collider Chick, Perfume Dancer, Goldio, and the Leo Dancer from grave, which we have to summon out Liger. So even though this board looks weaker than the ones I showed you and we had to use more cards to get to it, we still have a Liger Dancer which is unaffected. It also has a nuke during our opponent's turn. After we nuke, because we still have the Silverhound in grave, we can then negate a spell trap. And then during our turn we have the Perfume in grave for follow-up. The same combo I just showed you can be performed with Lunalight Fusion if you don't happen to have Polymerization in hand. So we'll activate the Fusion, and like before we want to summon out Perfume Dancer using the 2 monsters in our side of the hand. Okay, in this case though we don't have the Kaleido Chick chain block, so just it's always important to remember that, so we have to choose how we want to activate these effects. I feel as though you could probably do more with the Silverhound than the Perfume, so just in case I would activate Silverhound as chaining 1 and then Perfume Dancer as chaining 2. So we'll add the Perfume and then we will summon out Yugioh like we did before. Because we're turn player, we have priority, so we will activate Yugioh's effect, and of course our opponent can then respond with Droll, which unfortunately does negate the Yugioh search. So we will then activate Perfume, summon back out Kaleido, use her effect to send a Wolf, and then Yugioh to add Wolf to hand. Like before, we can activate Wolf, it's not necessary to do it now, but we will activate the Wolf at some point, so it doesn't really matter. We'll then use Perfume to add Kaleido Chick to hand, and then summon itself, resetting the effect. And then activate Kaleido to send Leo Dancer, and then from here you can activate Wolf to summon out Liger. Again, we want to use all the monsters on our side of the field plus the Leo, so that during our opponent's turn after we've nuked, we can use the Silverhound engrave to spell trap negate. We don't have a Polymerization to discard off Perfume, but we have whatever we draw off the top for follow-up. So the last combo I want to show you kind of showcases how you can go about ending on the same board I just showed you, but if you don't open up Polymerization or Lunalight Fusion. So in this case you will need the Black Sheep obviously to search the Polymerization, or the search Polymerization, and then you'll need either Tiger or Perfume. For the purpose of illustrations I've just put both in hand, but you know, obviously you just need one or the other. So we would lead by activating Black Sheep to add Polymerization from deck to hand. And from this point, it's the easiest roll of our opponent's life. They're gonna slam that onto the table. So they'll activate Droll, and from here you will activate the Polymerization that you just searched to summon out Perfume Dancer, sending Kaleido Chick and Silverhound. Okay, now we don't really have too many trigger effects, but we'll activate Silverhound's effect to summon from deck a chain link 1, and then we will chain block with Kaleido Chick, who's gonna add the Polymerization from grave to hand. Summon out Yugioh. Obviously we can't activate the Yugioh's effect because we are under Droll. And then from this situation you would then activate either the Tiger or the Perfume, whichever you drew, to summon out the Kaleido Chick from grave. You'll use Kaleido Chick's effect to send Wolf to grave, and then Yugioh's effect to add the Wolf to hand. Reset your Kaleido Chick with Perfume Dancer, and then activate her effect to send a Leo Dancer. Like before, we are still locked into Lunalights because we control the Yugioh that we summon from deck. So we'll just activate Wolf's effect Fusion, and we'll summon out Liger Dancer using, again, the monsters we have on field, plus the Leo from grave. And yeah, just like that, we ended up on a Liger, plus a spell trap negate after we nuke, and follow up.